All right, we'll call the work session to order and call the roll. Elise Werdemark?
Here.
Bob Silverford?
Here.
Jack Hoffberg?
Here.
Brian Stitcher?
Here.
Charlie Harvick?
Here.
Vice Chair Neil Shannon?
Here.
Beth Cook?
Here.
And Pat Allen is here. So everybody but Jennifer Kuiper is here. Last time we talked about scheduling ourselves 30 minutes in case once we saw this document we had significant concerns before unveiling it on an unsuspecting public. And so really that's pretty much what we have to talk about tonight, is go through this and make sure everything is copacetic for everyone. And then just to remind everyone, what we've talked about for the format is front half of the meeting is workshops, back half of the meeting is public hearing. We kind of loosely tossed around an hour and an hour. I think that's actually sort of dependent on who's actually here. If we get two people, we'll figure out what they want to talk about and hear what they want to talk about, and then move on to public hearing and be done with it. But if we have a big crowd, then we'll just manage it kind of accordingly, if that makes sense to people. So with that, I know we got this document a couple of days ago from Sylvia. Anything that Sylvia or Joe or anybody want to talk about that's here, or just dive into it? Okay. Neil.
I had just kind of one comment under the blue discussion notes, section 10. That last line there, as far as prior to start of business, is actually for section 11, not for section 10.
Right.
And then the only other thing that I was kind of curious about, where were my notes on that? Under section 14, we had some discussion about the compensation possibility of adding language.
Well, sorry, before you go on to that one,
okay.
so prior to start of business, I thought when we talked about 11, we talked about whether the comments needed to be prior to the start of business, but I thought where we ended up was all we were going to put in the charter was the constitutional notion of there needs to be comment. We weren't going to land on
Say
when
before.
it needed to be. Exactly. Did I get that
Well-
right?
But it's listed under section 10 is what I think
Was
you
the
were
discussion
talking about.
notes.
Oh, I see. So it's the whole thing. It's not just the prior to start of business comment. I got it. All right. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
And if I remember the minutes correctly, you were going to at least give me an opportunity to defend my position on that.
I was. Okay, I'm sorry. Go back to.
And then if we wanted to cover the sections complete, I just saw that we had some discussion about compensation for counselors beyond the reasonable expenses. Was that going to go into section 3, and did we want to include that as a total package, or just leave that for discussion at a later date?
At this stage, my preference would be to leave it for discussion at another date, because I think there's a round of research that we would need on that, and
Okay.
I don't think we've got time to fully vet that one.
Yeah, that's
my
fine.
take, but if others feel
Yeah, I
strongly,
think that's where we left it.
okay.
Okay, I just double checking. That was the only two questions I had.
There's a style point more than anything else. In a number of places, you've described our decision as conceded. I don't think conceded is quite the right word, as opposed to elected or decided or
Consensus?
or something. Conceded sort of means we reluctantly agreed to.
And did you not do that?
Well, sometimes we did, and sometimes we didn't.
So I will change it as you wish.
Yeah, I think decided is. I prefer a more neutral. Just decided not to amend, or decided to amend, or yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So with that in the record, as we move forward, if we
Use something
decide
like
to
this,
use this
right.
document again,
Right.
I'll go in and change that language.
Okay. Other thoughts or observations about the document? I really like the format. I think it gets everything boiled down in a really easy to digest.
Yeah, I thought it was very easy to follow.
I guess a question for everybody: as I was looking at the Green Seek legal advice issues, I think they all ended up in the technical correction category. as opposed to anything where we've got a significant policy change that we're waiting on technical advice on. Is everyone else reading it the same way?
I would agree.
Because it was mostly word usage and is this section really necessary and that kind of stuff that it feels like we can come back to.
Right. I would agree.
And so if we have people here who want to talk about this in 20 minutes, that's when I describe what's here, that's the way I would kind of tend to want to tee that up. Anything else on the document?
Chair Allen, sorry, this is
Wow. Yes.
since you mentioned legal and it's down the road, I did want to update the committee.
Yes.
We did talk to the council about seeking outside counsel, and the council agreed with that. And we've also had conversations with Pam Berry with our city attorney's office, and she's fine with that as well, and probably will help us find an outside attorney to look at these when the time comes that has some expertise in local government and charters.
Yeah.
But that's the direction we're going to go.
Great.
And that was a suggestion I think that one of the members came up with, and the council agreed with that. That's just cleaner in terms of where we are.
Very good, thank you. Anything else generally? All right, in that case, I think the work session part of what we want to do tonight is done. So in about 17 minutes, we'll start open house. What I'd like to have people do is divide up tables, and we'll pick a chapter 3 table and a chapter 7 table, and just make sure we got a kind of an even break of people at each one, and we'll have conversations with whoever's here who wants to talk about either of those chapters, and we'll pick some time and then flip. You guys will stay where you're at, and then everyone can either change tables if they want or stay and talk to you for more time at that table. Does that work for everyone? All right, then work session is adjourned, subject to reconvening at 7 for the open house and public hearing. Great. All right, in that case, I'll call the Charter Review Committee to order. Do I need to call the roll again since this is a hearing, or are we good? We're good. Okay, and Jennifer Kuiper joined us since I called the roll long ago. Joined us, and so thanks everyone for participating in the workshop. What we'll do is go ahead and open a public hearing now on the proposed charter amendments. I think everyone has seen the document that's got the red track changes, the blue discussion notes, and then the green notes for seeking legal advice. I didn't mention this before, but we think everything where we think we need maybe some legal advice is in the category of minor stuff that we would come back to in a technical cleanup, not as substantive changes. And so nothing that we are considering proposing to the council is waiting on attorneys to get back to us. And so at this point, I would invite anyone who'd like to come up and give us feedback about what they've seen so far, who'd like to do that, to come on up. Or not. Going once, going twice. All right, in that case, I will close the public hearing on the draft charter changes. Our calendar then calls for us to have another formal opportunity for public input next week. And so it looks like it would be this document that, with the changes, I would suggest that, is this document posted and available on the website?
After tonight.
Okay, so after tonight, this will be posted and available. And so if you've got social networks or other ways of getting people pointed toward where we've got stuff available for people to look at and for comment next week, then we'll have one more round of public hearing next week, and then a work session with the council the week after. Is that still on the docket? And so that's where we will basically be handing off this iteration of the work to the council for their consideration to put on the ballot. And I think probably the other thing we'll talk about next week, in addition to doing that public hearing, is our work after that, probably including taking a bit of a break and then starting up again to look at other chapters as well as the technical issues we've been dealing with. Any questions or anything else for the general good?
We have to approve the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. So we've got the minutes of the January 30th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look at them? And are there any changes, corrections? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Any further business we need to consider tonight? In that case, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.